Welcome back to That Talking Thing. I'm Kim.
I'm Jason.
This is episode 10, season 2, and we're talking about life topics. The first, we need wine to talk about our life. The first topic is, as a parent, staying calm to diffuse anger and reactive behaviors. So, this is something I think I wish I was better at when my daughter was 2. I'm getting better at now that she's 10.
Mm,
I found myself getting calmer and calmer and calmer the more angry or reactive a child is when you talk to them about something,
yeah.
and using calm words, using sympathetic, empathetic language. It's not always easy, but it's interesting, I think, as a parenting tactic to think about.
Mm. Yeah, it's so hard. And one thing I noticed too is sometimes the other parent can see, you know, like if our daughter, for example, is getting defensive about something she shouldn't, like, why do I have to whatever do this thing that I or what shower? It's like, and we're like every day, everyone in the whole world showers about once a day. You have like 3,000 times already now. This is like, why is it a surprise that you have to take a bath every day? So if she gets really defensive, like, I gotta take a bath. And then if, say, you act defensively to that and you get engaged in this kind of like emotional conflict with the child, like as an outsider, if I just happen to walk by, I'm like, I can see what's going on and tell, like, oh, you let it get to you, or like you're taking it personally. And you shouldn't, but it's so easy as an outsider, or like when you see like another parent, like my brother with his kids, and you're like, well, obviously he should X, Y, Z. And but then when I always say like in the shit, I was like, when you're in the shit with your kids, because that's what it is like you're just like busy doing things.
Surviving.
Yeah. So how do you cultivate that, you know, I don't know, the attitude and the persona, like the ability to wait and be calm and take it. Sometimes for me, it's like a sense of humor about it. Like,
Okay.
helps. It's like, oh, like, it's funny, like, on some level, it's funny that she's so like, it's like, "This is crazy,"
From the outside looking in, that is horrible to
Um,
me to observe because I feel
oh,
that you're minimizing how frustrated they are, how sad they are with laughter.
mhm,
And then I think they have something that they are justified in being
yeah,
upset about. It's being laughed at for
right.
her being upset.
Yeah, so if you let that laughter get out, then it's just a different problem of
Yeah.
you're laughing at them and then they're mad about that, and you're, like, egging them on. We were just on vacation, so it was kind of really it was a little easier. I'm skipping ahead to future topics, but maybe one reason was that we were really self-conscious
Yeah.
of, like, not, agitating the kids. And it's like, why is it like you have to walk on eggshells around your kids or whatever? They're like, no, you kind of do. It's like respectful, like they can't handle it. You know, they're
Like
bummed out.
saying you have to stop playing video games to them, that
Yeah.
is eternity. That's
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
We kind of recognize this with some of our customers, not to make this business topic oriented, but when people are deeply frustrated with
Mm,
something that isn't functioning the way they wanted it to, and we're like, okay, it's a simple thing, we can help you fix it. To them, it's the cornerstone of their business, the only reason they could point to for why they're not financially successful yet. And
mm,
they're so emotionally involved in it more than we are.
right.
And I think
Right.
the same for the kids when they react and get upset about something. There's another layer
Yeah.
of feeling
Yeah.
below what you're aware of.
Yeah.
Something that happened to them 1 hour ago, something that they're expecting to happen to them 3 hours from now is involved and tied up in why they're angry or why they're reacting.
Right. I guess that helps too. If you realize, I feel like I say that a lot sometimes with the kids when they're upset about something that's silly. And I tell myself, remember I tell you sometimes I'm like, oh, like they're really upset though. Like I know it is silly, but to them, it's really upsetting. And so you like if you get on their level and like it's a save game and your video game. They're
Yes.
like, you could personally care less about, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that bad? Maybe you
Yeah.
relate a little bit about like losing something. I don't know. But even so, it's like, it's not a big deal. It was like an hour of their time and all that, they have tons of time. And you're like, Even that though it feels bad, but there's other stuff that they don't really,
Yeah.
it's just like, to them, it's really, and so if you meet them on their level and you don't like the lesson now is, that's another thing too, is in the moment they need to be consoled. They don't need the lesson. I think having like the weekly meeting we do, there's times where like I'll file in the back of my mind where I'm like, oh, man, that really stinks. I'm sorry you lost your save game. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, maybe we could talk about this at meeting, like how important are save games or whatever. Um, and sometimes that helps. Meditation has helped me. Like it feels like what the life moves in slow
Yeah.
motion. And there's like, I'm a little bit detached from Jason. And so I'm like, oh, that's funny. Jason's angry. And then like, he shouldn't be angry now.
Don't show it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it really is. It's like it's like the superpower for meditation.
I noticed something Marin does is when somebody explains that they're having a feeling, so they're feeling tired, they're feeling sore, they're feeling hungry, she has to say how she also has that feeling or she has it more powerfully. I mean, I've started doing that to her. So she'll say, "Oh, I'm so tired."
Yeah.
Or she'll like wake up, say, "I'm so tired," and then I'll say, "Oh, I'm so tired too. I've been awake for 3 hours, and
That bothers her. So you're not
I don't think it does.
validating her tiredness. You're
It's something she does to other people, so now I'm doing it to her also
okay.
for her to like recognize
Oh,
that her feeling isn't unique. She's doing it to other.
right.
It's how she reacts to other people. She's taking it fine,
Oh, okay.
but it's been interesting
That
to turn that on.
that's sometimes worse too when you're like, I'll show them. Like,
I think
that
I'm doing it like in
get
an
it.
empathetic. I'm using
Yeah.
empathetic words. I'm not saying, "Well, you shouldn't be tired. I should be tired."
Yeah, it's funny, like
Yeah.
the subtlety of exactly how you do
Yeah.
things really matters. So okay, so maybe we could analyze the situation. Do you remember you got the bill for Roblox?
Yes.
Excuse me. So you got an email that there was $20 spent on Roblox, and you're like, I thought it was only $10.
2 days in a row,
Yeah,
I
2
got
days in a
emails.
row. Okay. And then you sent it to me, and you're like, did Maren buy Roblox yesterday? And I was like, no, but she did like 3 days ago. It should have been this much, this much. So I thought the most obvious thing was that she bought Robux on Roblox without permission.
Yes.
So she, hey, maybe this is bad on us. I didn't want to have to like always have my credit card when I'm buying stuff for the kids. And I think it's a learning opportunity. It's like, hey, I trust you that you can click a button and buy something, but you have to talk to us first and give us the money and figure it out.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, did she like secretly buy something? And at breakfast then I was like, Maren, like mom noticed that there was a Roblox.
Why'd you throw me under the bus?
Maybe I didn't bring it up to him. I think I did though. But I said like, did you,
Okay.
buy the Roblox? And I don't think I wasn't angry about it. I was like,
Boy.
did you do it? Let's talk. Cause then she was like, oh, I like, why would you think I did that? I did. Of course I did it. And like, she was like really upset. I was like, I'm just trying to talk. We got to figure it out. Cause definitely someone bought Robux with our credit card yesterday, like it really happened. And she's like, it must be a mistake. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't think it was a mistake. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but trying to talk her through it. But I think not accusing her, but talking, anyway, we figured out that there's like a delay of 3 days when the charge comes up. So it really was the purchase she did 3 days ago. And that just happened to show up the day before. So it looked like it happened the day before. And I spent like a half hour in the morning. I said, hey, it's okay. We'll talk about it. Cause she was really upset and like crying and like her that we thought she had like betrayed our trust.
Mm.
And it turns out like she didn't, that it just was, there was a delay in like how the charge went. And when I went to the Robux and accounted for it, it was like, oh, she only ever bought it at the time she said, and she always gave us money for it. So I felt bad, but we had a really good talk then where I like apologized. And she said, it just like, it hurts my feelings that when you don't believe me. And I think there's been other times where like, yeah, I don't believe you. Like, I'm pretty sorry. Like, I guess this time though, I was given the benefit of the doubt.
You just wanted to have a conversation.
I don't know. But it was, I don't know. It had this like really intimate moment where she was kind of like, and it is, remember like when we wrote those, what was the some meeting we wrote, like, this is one thing that bothers me, one thing I like. And the one, I don't remember, I should know, what was her one thing that bothers her? Oh, is when people point out stuff that's wrong with her, like criticize her or something. And maybe it's kind of related. So it's kind of, she's super sensitive to being told she's lying or doing something wrong. When she feels like she did something wrong, she like exits the situation. And that's a challenge. We're going to have to choose your life. Sometimes you can't exit. Like you have to address it. And like with me, like she could have talked to me
Right.
and we would have figured it out. We're not like unreasonable, but she kind of, I guess it was important. Like she realized like, well, I get really upset when people accuse me of something.
Yeah.
And
Know that about
at least she
yourself.
recognized. So recognition for her is the first step to like figuring out like,
Yeah.
what do you do about it that your Marin, gets upset when people accuse you of something.
Yep. But for me, when she reacts like that,
Mhm.
the stay calm when somebody's angry and reactive, I say, you seem really upset. I was asking you a question.
Mhm.
I don't feel upset.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
So not engaging in it, not escalating it.
It
I
is
don't know.
usually the
I
better.
find it's
Yeah.
probably a mindset shift for
Be
me, and,
Yeah.
and I'm just recognizing it and proactively staying calm.
We're so used to like meeting people on level at
Right.
like arguments and fights. It's like, oh, are we fighting now?
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, well, you're loud, I'm loud. And like,
Yeah.
it's such a natural, we're kind of powerful people who don't let people, pick on us or bullshit us. And so we react to our kids that way.
Yeah. Not good.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Good luck.
yeah.
Parents listening, try it. Try the opposite reaction than your heart and your mind
Right.
are inclined to do.
I guess like a key point is I don't think you're like letting them walk over you and
No,
yell at you. There's like a,
you're modeling calm
right.
conversation.
Yes. That's one of those things where ha kids don't learn what you tell them. They learn what you show them. Like they learn by your example. So your example is being calm. They're going to learn, oh, this is how mom deals with this is in a calm way. And in the back of your head, you have to say at family meeting or whatever your version of that is, I really have to have a conversation with her about
Mhm.
like why she's freaking out on me because I'm just asking her questions. But if you do that in the moment, it just escalates and gets bad. And then the kids kind of learn like, oh, this is what we do is like we yell at each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's really tough because it's tough.
It's tough.
All right. Next topic.
Go yell at your husband later. That's what I do. Next topic.
Next topic. Um, Next topic. I was talking with my mother about the situation in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, and, like other global huge challenges that are just sad. So also like, this also happens with like COVID and it's like, what am I going to do? Or like politics. And you're like, the people I don't like are kind of in charge of things and making decisions I wouldn't make.
Not anymore. The people that are in charge right now, we like
Okay.
you.
In some places, there's still some we do.
In the United States. Okay. Federal government.
Okay. Yeah. But there's stuff that's out of your control. And in Ukraine, we were talking, just about like the horror of what's going on over there and feeling powerless. And it was funny, like in the moment I was reminded of this and I told my mom about it. I was like, this quote by Jack Cornfield, who's an American, I think, maybe it's British, I think it's American though, went to India, learned Buddhism, and then came back and wrote a bunch of books about Buddhism. So he's like a Buddhist guru. He says, tend to the part of the garden you can touch. And that's like a rephrasing of like Buddhist ideas. And you say, like, the world is blowing up. Twitter, I'm doom scrolling Twitter. I'm so upset. I feel powerless. Like I can't do anything. And his advice is like, tend to the part of the garden that you can touch, which I think some people read as when they hear that is like, oh, ignore the problems. And it said like literally go into the garden. You had a good day gardening today in the weather, like go into the garden and like do your thing, But in reality, because I was trying to get the direct quote after I told my mom about it. And I saw like when in his blog or something, he shared it. It was in a video. He didn't say like ignore the world problems. He said you can help with the world problems, but you can't like change what's happening. Folks in Ukraine, I reached out to them and they said like, oh, like what we really need is to have jets shoot down Russian jets and keep our skies. And I was like, I can't do that. I have no influence whatsoever. But what can I do is like, what can I touch? So, but yeah, so in reality, you can address these huge world problems if you just like instead of thinking about what the news is telling you, say like, oh, okay, how can what am I personally in contact with?
Mm.
What influence do I actually have? What people do I actually have contact to? What can I do? And so we did. So I reminded my mom, and then after I was, it made her feel better. She's like, Jason, that made me feel better. Like I was like thinking about it, and and she's like, donating and finding things to do. And like, it feels good to, you're like, I'm doing what I can. And it's funny, like the whole world is a bunch of people, just individuals helping. So anyway, I don't know, like we did something too in our business. So I was, kind of thinking on that, meditating on that. And I was like, oh, like what can like, what do we have access to with respect to this? And I thought like, oh, we have customers who are Ukrainian, and we can kind of find them by saying like, who checked out with a billing address in Ukraine, who has a Ukrainian email address or a Ukrainian web domain, and let's just email them and be like, hey, this is weird out of the blue, but like we're really upset about what's going on. Like, well, how can I help you personally? And it's as a business, it's kind of like I can give you free services, sure. Like, but your website's probably not the most important thing going on right now in your life. Um, but how else can I help you? And it's funny, like I thought that the website's not important, but the website it turns out the people we've interacted with so far, it wasn't, but it might be really important. Maybe like they're raising money through their website. Like we have a tool that helps people raise money. Um,
On the flip side of
yeah,
that, we didn't single out anyone that was a Russian website or a Russian email.
yeah,
Um, and I think companies have done that. Companies have,
yeah. Like McDonald's closed their stores in Russia
yeah.
and stuff like that. Or
I think for us, it wouldn't have made sense to pull those weeds in the garden because it's an
yeah,
assumption that there's alignment, that every Russian customer we may have
yeah,
is aligned with their country's decision making.
yeah,
Um, and they're at where they are in their country, they aren't necessarily physically being affected by what's happening in the way that citizens of Ukraine,
yeah.
regardless of agreement or disagreement with politics,
Yeah.
are being affected in their life, their exact life. So
Yeah, our motivation was to help like
help, not
individual people.
isolate or harm
Yeah,
or
yeah.
target anyone.
Um, and it was good. It feels good. And some people said like, "Oh, I need money for this." And we're like, "Let's figure out how to get you money." And some people, we set a budget and things. And some people said like, "I'm at this shelter. They need blankets." And I'm like, "I don't know how to get you blankets." But I remember when we helped our family through Hurricane Maria. It
Mhm.
was like I kind of realized then, I was like, wow, like you watch on the news and you're like, people are sending convoys and doing all this stuff, and you're like, there's a lot of people just doing helping a few people. If everyone just helped a few people,
Yeah,
like it goes a long way and we all help each other. So I was like, I don't know how to get blankets to your place, but like, are you able to share the address? Cause I hear, there's someone else I knew who was, driving to
right,
the border through Poland. And it's like, maybe I can get them money so that they can, it feels so silly. And like, but
right.
it's like, what can we do? Like, that's a thing we can actually do. Yeah. But I guess it's the point. Yeah. We're not being punitive towards, our Russian customers. I don't feel like we have to right now. It seems
Right,
at some point it might become law. I don't think it's trickled down to
right.
like our types of businesses are supposed to shut things down. And then it would be a matter of law. But um,
Thinking back to Black Lives Matter and how could we have applied a similar
yeah,
tend to the part of the garden you can touch. So for us, what did that translate to? That translated to informing our kids about what was happening. So not
yeah,
we don't generally withhold any situation in the world from our kids
yeah,
and try to hide them from
no. But we
real
really go out of our
issues.
way to like talk about it, and we don't have the news on in the background a lot
No.
and things. So,
I'm wondering,
but I think we realize like we have to start talking about things
yeah,
now. They're 10 and 13. Otherwise, they figure it out on their own. They come back hearing about things at school with ideas, and we're like, oh,
like a twisted version
if
of,
we don't
yeah,
indoctrinate them, someone else is going to.
yeah,
So we're like, at least give them our values, but also like talk in an open way and encourage them to like be thoughtful and think. But yeah, when a lot of Black Lives Matter stuff was going on, I thought about that a little bit back then. And I thought, oh, like, what do we do? And we're like, we're an employer.
mm,
How can we, you know, employ people of color, like, or that's just like a version of, um,
Sure.
discrimination
Yeah.
and structural racism that's built in. And so, I engaged and started working on this kind of stuff of like trying to figure out how do we value diversity in our business and make, we've thought about that as we've been hiring. And we know, like, we're not actually hiring now, but we got to do this. Hey, now I'm telling you, like,
Mm.
one thing that I've heard. So I went out there and researched. I was like, hey, what do you do if you want to hire? And you can't just make a quota or say you want to, because you're not going to reach these people. That's kind of by definition what it is like you're not in these communities, you're not reaching these people. So you have to go out of your way and be like, oh, well, where are, you know,
Where are people of color
people of
looking
color
at job
looking for jobs and
opportunities,
applying
or
for jobs? Yeah.
who in their network is a great referral source
Right.
to
Yeah.
align with? Yeah.
Um,
Tend to the part of the garden you can touch.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. So, yeah. How's that help? Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Reminder. Cool.
Good
Thanks.
reminder.
Okay.
Next time.
See ya.
Bye.